This is AI.R. Artists in Residence Broadcasting, coming to you once a week from New York City. Hello, I'm John Cullum, and this is my wife, Emily Frankel.
And we are going to do a blog for M's Talkery, my blog.
Yes, what is it going to be?
I'd like to talk about Shattering Panes.
Oh, dear.
The Pane of Panes. Panes, Shattering Panes is a play I wrote.
Right.
It's a play I wrote and rewrote and rewrote and rewrote and rewrote and rewrote, and John directed it and redirected it, and we produced. And I still want to do it again.
Oh.
We did it last year here in the studio, and it was absolutely the most exciting time that we've ever done it. And lots of people came, but nothing came from it.
That doesn't mean something can't come from it in the future.
No, that's
You want to tell them something about the story?
Oh, well, we were in the Hancock building in Chicago, and that's where I got the idea.
Right.
You tell them about the Hancock building.
Well, the Hancock building is about 100 stories high. We were on the 99th floor in a swimming pool, and the
wind was howling.
There was a storm going on, and the Hancock building had everything above the 50th floor was all living quarters. Everything below it was office. In fact, you had to call down to find out what the weather was.
If you lived in the Hancock building, you didn't have to go out at all. You could have dentist, doctor, and of course, life was beautiful in the Hancock building. And I wanted to write about a man and a woman who loved each other, who lived in the Hancock building, and
the building was deteriorating.
And also their dog and cat, how the
Right.
dog and cat felt when the panes were shattering. So it was a quartet.
It was the story, really, of the deterioration of a couple who lived in a building that was beginning to deteriorate and fall apart. The elevator stopped working, and you couldn't. The garbage disposal was all stuffed up, and
every time a pane cracked, they didn't realize it was the pane above them on floor there, and then the next pane, and they would see
kept getting closer.
They'd look out the window and see it fall, and we had a pane on stage. So when the final pane, their pane cracked, they saw it and they were terrified.
Right.
What a fun play.
Yes, it was. I don't remember that pane. No, I think you made that up, Emily, because that's what you wanted it to be, and I could never make it work.
Well, we did a pane when we did
it. Was just like the cat and the dog. I hired these wonderful actors to play the cat and the dog, and you wanted a real cat that could talk and a dog that could bark. And
No. John hired, when we were in Seattle, when we first did this, John was in Northern Exposure. And he had John Corbett. Remember John Corbett, the announcer?
John.
He played the dog. And John Corbett is a gorgeous, big, tall guy. And I thought the dog was sort of delicate. And the guy from Northern Exposure who played the Indian played the cat. And I wanted a black cat. I wanted the cat to talk black slang. I just had different ideas. But John kept producing this play for me. First as a workshop in Seattle, then as a second workshop.
You figured if I did it enough times, I'd get it right.
No, I kept rewriting it. I rewrote it umpteen times.
No, we played it a couple of times ourselves. That was the most fun.
When we played it, we were a sellout in Seattle, but my play got panned in Seattle.
Yeah. So remember the name of the theater?
The Aha.
Should have been called the Uh-Oh.
The I wouldn't want to go back and do it in Seattle, but I sure would like to do it in New York.
I loved it doing it in Seattle. It's just that they didn't love us very much.
And the critic that panned the play, was very angry at me because she wanted me to do a happy wife in residence. While John was in Northern Exposure, she was doing a whole series of articles about him, and she wanted to do a happy wife interview. And I wouldn't talk to her because she gave such a disastrous review to my precious play.
Well,
will we ever do it again?
Absolutely. It may change slightly, but we may have
the panes of America.
A few more panes will be shattered, and it's really a story of. Did I say this already? That it's the story of a couple who is.
Marriage is deteriorating. The building is deteriorating.
Their marriage is not deteriorating.
And the world is deteriorating.
That's the thing. It's one huge 100-story metaphor.
John,
Yes, darling.
will you do Shattering Panes again if I ask you nicely?
Do you think I would ever refuse? Well, I guess we better sign off on that. See you next week, all right? This is AI.R. See you next week.